This video is dedicated to Christian Roberts. Christian, thank you. Jirina Kudro versus Kinnan Prodigy, Gyruda Doom of Depths, and then a couple of partners in Ludevic Necro-Alchemist and Ravos Soultender. Just took Ravos out of this deck at the last minute. Yeah, not sure how this is going to run yet. I've literally just built this deck, we'll mulligan that, and I'm just going to use this as a little play testing session. Okay, that's not incredible either, but we've got lands at least. We'll just have to hope that we draw into more humans. Plenty of them in the deck. Already a turn 1 play from the Kinnan player with Voltaic Key. They'll be able to untap their mana rocks with that. Is this going to come in tapped? It is, so we'll get that out of the way. Couple of tap lands from our opponents, and then Kinnan going in for a second play in Swiftfoot Boots, so likely going in for, I don't know if they want to get down their commander and then a Swiftfoot Boots with no rocks in play. Yeah, they might hold off on that. We've got a turn 2 play in the Boros Signet, so I think we definitely go for a black land with the Wooded Foothills, and then we'll get down the Signet. Gogo, a patron of the channel, big thank you to Gogo. Playing the partner deck today and getting down a Howling Mine, so that's going to sort out our card draw for a turn or two at least. And Kinnan does decide to plump for a Mana Rock in Chromatic Lantern. We draw into a Sun Titan first of all, and then after that it is Magus of the Disc, so we've got another human at least. I think we're okay to go for the Clifftop Retreat. We'll get down the Cover of Darkness. So we'll just slow roll it out for now. Cover of Darkness names human. And Cover of Darkness is creatures of the chosen type have fear, which means they can't be blocked except by artifacts and or black creatures. Anvil of Bugden from Go Batman. So even more card draw. They might have made some kind of makeshift draw pane Nekusar type list, but they've added white to it thanks to Ravos. Thassa, God of the Sea from Kinnan. And now it's round to our turn. We get to loot with the Anvil of Bugden, and then we'll draw a card from the Howling Mine. We can discard there. I mean, if we get down Sun Titan, we can bring back... No, maybe we just want to go for the Thraben Doomsayer now. Let's actually get rid of Thalia's Lieutenant, and we can bring that back with the Sun Titan, because that will put a +1/+1 counter on everything, which is not of much use to us at the moment. Did want some black mana though, so we will go for a scrub land. In fact, we're actually only going to go for Thraben Doomsayer now, so let's instead go for the Tri-land. And then we'll concentrate on getting our Thraben Doomsayer into play. And thanks to the Path of Ancestry, we get to scry 1. And that is Dire Tactics. We've already got Terminate in hand. Yeah, I want to start seeing humans, so let's put that on the bottom. Damping Sphere now. If a land will produce 2 or more mana, instead it produces colourless. Yeah, we do have Urborg in this deck, but we don't have Cabal Coffers, so not really too worried about that. I don't think we have Ancient Tomb as well, which is a card that I usually do run. Alright, a clone getting discarded at the beginning of the Gyruda player's turn. Then continuing to hold up the 2 blue mana and cracking a Myriad Landscape. That's noteworthy from the Kinnan player. I mean, it's pretty typical, I think, that they want to cheat in some Eldrazi, but they do discard 1 to the Anvil of Bugden, so that shuffles their graveyard back. And there he is, coming in finally. Only 1 rock in play at the moment, but that is 5 mana available once the commander comes in, and generating 6 mana thanks to the Voltaic Key, which first takes them into a Swiftfoot Boots. And then with the 5 green mana, I'm sure they're able to do something else. No, they're not. That's surprising. So just leaving a Kinnan in play with Hexproof and Haste. And deciding not to swing him. Alright, we get ourselves into a Mana Crypt first of all. and then an Anguished Unmaking. I wonder if we care about Magus of the Disc at this point. I don't think we really do. We've got Ruinous Ultimatum, so let's get rid of the Magus. And then we get Isolated Chapel, which I don't mind either. So let's get down 3 mana's worth of permanents. And then can we play Sun Titan and our commander? We might be just short. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, we're a couple short. In that case, why don't we try our commander? And we do get a scry from that again. Alright, Species Specialist is another good one, so we'll keep that on top. Do want to try and make more human tokens at this point. But we're getting into all of our removal at the moment. Anyway, that lands, so we do get a human token there. And then I think we're just holding up our myriad of removal. Do we want to swing in with the Thraben Doomsayer? I think we're better off making tokens with it. Yeah, let's just try and flood the board with tokens and hope that we don't see any kind of board wipe. So we'll hold that back. Really like Vigilance on the board if we can manage that. But the more creatures we've got next turn, the better the Thalia's Lieutenant is going to be. Yeah, definitely some kind of draw pain deck. A Fevered Visions now from the partner player. Ponder now from Gyruda. And there's an Eldrazi over there as well. Lazav, Dimir Mastermind, so we're going to have to be careful whenever a creature is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, yes, so we do have to be careful with discard, especially with the Anvil in play. If any of us discard a decent creature, then that Lazav could become a big problem. A Diluvian Primordial being discarded now, and that's exactly what I was talking about, so this could become a 5/5 flyer. Luckily it doesn't get, that is an ETB, isn't it? Yes, when it enters. So luckily, I don't think that really matters, although they'll probably take a hexproof 5/5 flyer. And they do. That does switch on our fear though, because this doesn't keep its colours, I don't think. It just keeps its hexproof and ability, as well as its legendary status and its name. But it is blue now, so I think we can swing through that. Another mana rock in the form of a Clue Stone for Kinnan, followed by a Seedborn Muse. That untaps their lands, doesn't it? I think we have to terminate that. And if they've got counter magic, then so be it. But we can't allow a Seedborn Muse to be in play because they'll be able to activate their Kinnan at least once a turn, maybe even a couple of times. So we will attempt to terminate. And that lands, that's really good. We'll see if Lazav wants to become a Seedborn Muse. Depends if they've got any instant speed stuff that they would like to cast, I suppose. They do decide to turn it into that, so it might be that they were holding up a lot of blue mana before. I don't know if they were bluffing or if they actually do have counters. And we draw into that Species Specialist, which I would like to get down pretty quickly, to be honest, because... Oh, Outpost Siege is good as well. Yeah, I was just going to say... I'd like to start drawing some more cards. Let's just get rid of the Westvale Abbey there. Always grab it back with Sun Titan if we can have it land. I do want to go for coloured mana instead though, because Ruinous Blast is very colour intensive. So let's get down the Flooded Strand. We will attempt an Outpost Siege. And that is Karn's. We are using that as card advantage. And then let's see about a swing in before we do anything else. I say we take this in at Kinnan. We'll go like that at Kinnan as well. And then Gyruda can take a 3/1 human. Alright, and then before we go for the Species Specialist, because we will get to scry on that, I'll shuffle up the library first. No point in going for a scry and putting something on top if we're just going to shuffle. Put the Godless Shrine into play. Oh, and I completely forgot about the other thing on the Damping Sphere. Each spell a player casts costs 1 more to cast for each other spell they've cast this turn. Ugh. Looks like we're holding up Anguished Unmaking them. Yeah. Alright, well at least we got the Outpost Siege down. We can maybe hold on to the Species Specialist for later on, if someone does wipe the board between now and then. Might instead go for Sun Titan onto the Thalia's Lieutenant next turn then. Try and encourage the board wipe if anyone has one. Yeah, apologies for that. Forgot completely about the second ability on this thing. And we're just shy. If anyone does have a board wipe, we're just shy on the mana for Garner as well. So we're going to have to start playing around the fact that we want to keep Garner held up if we can. Mirror Maid from GoGo. You can have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact or enchantment. And they go for another copy of their own Fevered Visions. So lots of card draw occurring in this game. We do have a little bit of lifelink in this deck, so we might be able to stay ahead of our opponents, finishing the turn off with a Wayfarer's Bauble. Another cantrip to start the turn off for the mill player, what I assume is a mill player. Don't know what our opponent wants to do with Gyruda yet. And speaking of which, going in for casting their commander now. So we all mill 4, and there's 4 triggers, so that means that there were 4 creatures milled. There is a Frontline Medic, another one worth going for with the Sun Titan, as is Serra Ascendant. Yeah, we're going to go for that. We'll have to do it soon because we're at 32 life. Timnah is good as well for more card draw, although I don't think we're going to really struggle with that this game. Anyway, they got themselves a Dreamborn Muse at the beginning of each player's upkeep. That player mills X, where X is the number of cards in their hand. Yeah, with a draw-paying player at the table, Dreamborn Muse is going to be really good. Might have to go for Anguished Unmaking onto that. Then a hit for 2 goes on to GoGo. And the Dreamborn Muse triggers at the beginning of Kinnan's turn. So they are going to mill 6, thanks to the 6 cards that are in their hand. And there's the first Eldrazi making use of the mill that the Dimir player has provided. Artisan of Kozilek will allow them to reanimate something. And it is their own Seaborn Muse that they went for. I think it's alright for us to hold on to our Anguished Unmaking at this point. Because as many creatures as we have, I don't think we should be seen as the threat at this point. Cover of Darkness cares about, it's artifact creatures, not colourless ones, so we can still get past the Kozilek, or the Artisan of Kozilek. A Sunset Pyramid from Kinnan now. Yeah, I think we just need to spread the damage and chip away at our opponents so that we don't become too much of a thorn in anyone's side. The question is, do we attempt? How much counter magic is being played? Has anyone discarded any yet? None has been discarded. That's not to say that no one's running any. I'm just wondering if it's likely that we can land the Ruinous Blast at this point. Let's try... Yeah, just for the sake of trying to get counter magic out of someone's hand, let's try Anguished Unmaking onto the Dreamborn Muse. Alright, looks like there might be some counter magic here then. I mean, they've got 12 cards in hand, so chances are they've got multiple pieces of counters. Alright, no Teferi's Time Twist, so it is a flicker effect instead. We won't get milled at least, because that will come back in at the end of our turn. First trigger with Outpost Siege will exile the top card of our library, and we'll be able to play it this turn. It is an Urborg, which I don't mind at all. Now, we lose the flip, so Serra Ascendant isn't going to be as good now. Like I said, we do have other means of life gain. Yeah, but I don't think we were going for Sun Titan into that this turn anyway. I think we want to get down Species Specialist and hold up the Garner. Okay, we just draw into a couple of lands. Let's get rid of Dragon Skull Summit. And then we get into Vigilante Justice as well. Yeah, I'm not liking the Damping Sphere slowing us down here. I'd like to be able to get all these things into play. Yeah, definitely want to hold up Garner though. So let's go into combat first of all. We'll send 6 in at Kinnan, including commander damage, and then 6 in at the Dimir player as well. Now there's something occurring here from the Kinnan player. May well be time for a Ruinous Ultimatum after this. Going for an activation with Kinnan first of all. They will need to get into an artifact creature in order to block us. Not the end of the world if our commander goes down, because we'll just get more tokens into play once we recast her. That is a Scourge of Fleets. Whenever it enters, return each creature your opponents control with toughness X or less to their owner's hands, where X is the number of islands you control. That is 4, so all of our stuff is coming back here. I think it is time for us to attempt a Ruinous Ultimatum. Yeah, it's going to be pretty rough for us wanting to be in the red zone against 3 blue players. Let's just attempt this Ruinous Blast. And if this lands, we will be able to get our Thraben Doomsayer back into play. But as long as the Damping Sphere's there, it's going to cost 4 and not 3. Alright, going for drawing a card on Sunset Pyramid. And surprisingly, looks like this might actually land. Alright, well, that's why you try your luck. The Dreamborn Muse is still going to come into play. So we're still going to be getting milled, but at least the board state has been set up quite nicely for us now to continue with our plan. Missing haste at the moment. Imperial Recruiter is a human as well as a tutor, so I will definitely keep that on top. We'll have to cast it next turn, thanks to it getting exiled by Outpost Siege. Enlightened Tutor from Gogo. They will get to search for an artifact or enchantment. They've gone for a Phyrexian Metamorph, not sure what they want a copy of yet. Maybe it's our Mana Crypt, because they don't have too much mana at the moment, been missing land drops apparently. Stormfist Crusader, that's another one that might fit in this deck if I decide to up the human count. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws and loses 1. And the Menace might be useful as well. Noteworthy that it does have Fear from our Cover of Darkness. And then an Animate Dead. Yeah, not sure what they're grabbing with that. Maybe the Seedborn Muse again. Seems that everyone's tangling over Seedborn Muse. No, it is their own clever impersonator. On to the Dreamborn Muse, so maybe they've got a lot of reanimation type stuff in this deck and they want to make use of the mill. Then they pay some life into Gitaxian Probe, and it's the Kinnan player whose hand they are looking at. 8 cards in their hand over there. After a bunch of mill from the 2 Seedborn Muses, and Ulamog, the second time, is being milled from the Dimir player, so they get all their stuff back. Cryptgas now, and it's noteworthy that all of their lands are swamps thanks to our Urborg, so even if they tap this down for blue mana, they will get an additional black, thanks to the Cryptghast. Evil Twin, and in response, Kinnan is going in for something. Okay, apparently not just tapping the mana, so Evil Twin will be a copy of Dreamborn Muse, no doubt. And yeah, had we have managed to land the Anguished Unmaking onto this thing before, none of this would have been occurring. We now have 3 Dreamborn Muses to contend with. Maybe a 4th one, Clever Impersonator. That is a lot of mill. And then 3 damage, turning sideways into Kinnan. They'll go down to 25. And there we are. At the beginning of Kinnan's turn, they get a Scry from Thassa, but they've also got to mill. They've got to mill 8 4 times, which is 32 for any of you that aren't any good at mental arithmetic. And I can't leave their graveyard open, as I've complained about a million times during these Magic Online games. So only 30 cards left in the deck there, but we do know that they have an Ulamog, so that will get shuffled back into their library. Unlike us, we don't have any shuffle effects like that, so we're going to be the first to go down to mill, I dare say. Kogla, the Titan Ape, that's a new one from Ikoria. And it will fight something when it enters. Fighting the mana doubler in Cryptghast, makes perfect sense. And then it's our turn to mill 32 cards. Oh, we're actually going to mill the Imperial Recruiter, is it called? We're going to mill the Imperial Recruiter first, thanks to the way that the stack works. So there it is, we get rid of Imperial Recruiter. Patriarch's Bidding, that's a shame. No way to get that out. Queen Marquesa. Outlaw's Merriment, I had high hopes for this one. The Kambal gets milled as well. Disciple of Bolas, I don't think we want to be drawing too many cards anyway, to be honest, with all this going on. Elsha, yeah, all of our graveyard interaction is going down to mill. And then just to add insult to injury, we lose to the Mana Crypt flip as well. We do have flashback on Increasing Devotion if we wanted at least. Let's just play the Reflecting Pool for now. And I think it makes sense for us to go for an Elsha here because we can grab stuff out of our graveyard and try and get things going. I'm starting to wish I had Anger in the deck. Whenever I want haste in a deck, I usually run Anger. But I was trying to cram in as many humans as possible. Maybe we just go for Garner for the haste here. I was trying to hold it up for board wipe protection, but that's not going to happen apparently. Polluted Delta can definitely go on the bottom. Been drawing a lot of lands off the top this game. And then, completely forgot about that with Garner. I thought it was everything that had gone into the graveyard from play, everything that had died this turn, but it's everything that has gone into the graveyard from anywhere. So, we might actually be able to make use of Angel of Glory's Rise next turn, especially if we discard a bunch of humans at the end of the turn. Let's tap down the Thraben Doomsayer, and then I am going to go in hard at the mill player at this point. And Sun Titan is going to grab us the Serra Ascendant. We can't pay for Elsha yet, unfortunately, but we'll just target the Serra Ascendant with that as well. And I'm hoping that with Kambal, we'll be able to gain enough life to make the Serra Ascendant relevant. Not by next turn, unfortunately, but yeah, maybe we'll be able to make use of that. Alright, so that only knocks them down to 28 because we don't have our commander in play. Yeah, what do we want to get down next turn? I think we just discard a bunch of humans and hope that we can land the Angel of Glory's Rise. So we discarded there the Imperial Recruiter, which originally got milled, the Queen Marquesa, Disciple of Bolus, General's Enforcer, Recruiter of the Guard, Zulaport, and the Species Specialist. So we just need to hope that we survive until next turn, and then we need to hope that Angel of Glory's Rise lands. We draw ourselves into a Sol Ring with the Stormfist Crusader. Wrath of God. Yeah, we see the Wrath at the wrong time, unfortunately. But maybe we'll be able to make use of that Wrath. And maybe Garner is going to do even more work for us this game if we manage to get her out with the Angel, like I keep saying. Yeah, we're up against a lot of blue players, so I'm not holding my breath on that front. But the Ruinous Ultimatum got through, so you never know. Mnemonic Betrayal now. Exile all cards from all opponents' graveyards. You may cast spells from amongst them this turn. At the beginning of the next end step, if those cards remain in exile, then you return them to the graveyards. Which is good news for us, considering our game plan this turn. Unfortunately for us, I was just hoping that we might draw into Cavern of Souls in our next turn. We've got 2 chances to, thanks to the Outpost Siege. I would have named Angel with that and gone for this, but it has been milled and is now in exile. And that's a shame. The true Multar, who was the Dimir player, is just timed out after exiling all the graveyards. Oh, and does that mean we don't get our stuff back into... Oh, that is so annoying. Oh, they just exiled our graveyard for nothing. Yeah, that's the type of thing that totally changes the outcome of a game. I mean, we've still got cards in hand at least, but there's every chance we could have gotten a big turn off during our next turn. Yeah, no idea what happened there. Yeah, I was waiting for all the creatures to go back in and then I could count up whether it would be worth going for the Vigilante Justice before we go for the Angel. Oh, and now a Foreign Klex. Excellent. Yeah, but our haste has gone down now. This only taps lands, I think, doesn't it? Yes. Followed by Grun, the Lonely King. Lots of legendaries in this deck, seemingly. Well, maybe we'll get something really good off the top. Nope, just another land with the Outpost Siege. Let's see if we get another Lightning Bolt. We actually managed to dodge this one, that's good. And it is a Magus of the Wheel. We will just... Yeah, might as well play the Snow-Covered Swamp. And I think we're definitely going for the Sol Ring, first of all. And I'm not going to play around Vorinclex. I think I'm just going to try and land as many creatures as possible and go in at them next turn. So we'll go like this. We've still only cast our commander once from the command zone this game. So we only get the 1 token. Should we have gone for the Vigilante first? That's 5 mana. No, I think I'm just going to concentrate on Kambal and the Pegasus and the Magus. A Scry from Kambal, thanks to the land again. Archetype of Courage, I don't mind having on top, thanks to because of the first strike, might be relevant. So like I said, missing the haste this turn, but yeah, there's not a whole lot we can do about that. I would really like to have done a lot of damage to Kinnan this turn. Path to Exile going straight on to the Vorinclex. So we've just tapped down all our lands straight into that, and now Go-Go doesn't have to. At least that takes them off of double mana, and they've got one less creature to swing back at us with next turn as well. That Phyrexian Metamorph that they tutored for has come into play now, and that is a copy of their own Cabal. So Kinnan's going to have to be very careful with non-creature spells here, because they're going to take 4 every time they cast one, which might actually make a difference this game. If they cast 2 non-creature spells and we swing in at them, that's probably them done next turn. They are taking 1 damage from the Mana Vault as well, so they could do with some mass bounce at this point, because we are going to be turning everything in sideways at them. Casting a Soul Ring into 2 Cabals, then getting their Kinnan into play. The Soul Ring will tap for 3. They haven't had the best of luck getting into rocks again since we went for that Ruinous Ultimatum. Noteworthy that they do have Cyclonic Rift mana held up though. But then deciding to tap some mana into their Platinum Angel, and that is something that they can block with. So what we could do is go for Vigilante Justice and try and blow that thing up. I think we will swing into that anyway. I think we're going to have First Strike next turn, aren't we? If I remember correctly, that card should be on top of our library. Although, yes, we can cast it thanks to the white that we'll be able to make next turn. Okay, Swiftblade Vindicator. Yeah, I'd like to get that down. I'd like to do a lot of things this turn that we're not going to be able to. We've only got 3 coloured mana, so I think we can go Vigilante Justice and the Archetype of Endurance, or Archetype of Courage, which gives First Strike. Yeah, and then we just swing everything in at them. We might lose our Cavalry Pegasus, but I don't think it's relevant with the Cover of Darkness in play. Might lose our Commander, don't care about that either. So yeah, let's shock down the Sacred Foundry, and we'll go in for the Vigilante Justice. Cabal will drain us for 2, the other Cabal that is. And then we'll get the card off the top. We've done quite nicely with this Outpost Siege. I think this is a card that is not frightening enough to remove, so if you land it, you're likely to keep it for the rest of the game until there's some kind of board wipe, that is. Let's just poke Kinnan for 1, because I haven't bothered to work out the combat damage here. But we are just going to turn everything in sideways. We'll probably lose a creature to the Platinum Angel, because they can block with that. Everything will gain flying from the Cavalry Pegasus, which is irrelevant. Like I said, the Cover of Darkness gives everything fear, so they couldn't block anyway, apart from with their artifact creature. They decide not to block, so maybe they're not going to die to this. Like I said, I haven't bothered to work it out. Yeah, they go down to 2. So as long as they can't gain life, all we need to do is get 2 humans down next turn, which we will hopefully be able to do. Clear a land off the top, so that puts us 1 step closer to having more humans in play. You never know, if someone wipes the board, we might be able to make use of the Angel yet. Because this is on entry, I think, not cast. Yeah, it's whenever a human enters, so it does trigger on tokens as well. Yet another clone in Copy Artifact will drain our opponent. Go for 2 with our Cabal. I dare say they go for a Platinum Angel of their own here. That's exactly what they go for. Then Ravos Soultender. Don't think we have a graveyard anymore, do we? No, just a Path to Exile there. Nothing in either of our graveyards. But that is a black creature they can block with, so they've got 2 of those now. As well as the Platinum Angel, so 3 blockers for them. Chancellor of the Spires coming from Kinnan. When it enters the battlefield, you can cast an instant or sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard. That is a Path to Exile from Go. And they've gone down to 1 from the Mana Vault, by the way. They've cast the Path to Exile, so they get drained for 2. They get drained for 2 twice. I don't know which goes on the stack first. It is ours, so we gain the 2 life. So they do manage to get rid of the Platinum Angel with the Path to Exile. They also go down to -3. So at this point it's a case of getting rid of Platinum Angel and we can knock them out. Perplexing Chimera. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you can exchange control of it with the spell. So I wonder if it's worth keeping hold of the Swiftblade Vindicator until we've got a means of making a bunch of humans. If we get into another human, we can have our commander die, play her and the 2 other humans, and then that will make 4 humans and kill off the Platinum Angel. Anyway, coming in at us with 5 damage there, that is 14 in total. And yeah, we can't block well there, thanks to not having the extra power on the Archetype of Courage. So we just have to take it. A True Conviction would be nice at the moment. I don't know if that got milled. No, we've still got a True Conviction in the deck if we want it. Alright, just a Talisman on the top for us. With the Outpost Siege, don't particularly care about that. Just seems as though we've gotten into a bunch of mana, really, this game. Call of the Coppercoats. That might be able to knock Kinnan out then. Although the thing is, they'll be able to exchange control of it with this, won't they? Yeah, well, we'll get down Vault of Archangel anyway. Yeah, I think we need to be careful with how we play this. We might be able to get our opponent to swap out the Perplexing Chimera. Maybe this player goes for a board wipe or something like that, so we'll get down. Yeah, I'm not really worried about keeping hold of the Swiftblade Vindicator at this point. Offer up the Swiftblade to the Perplexing Chimera. Highly doubt that they take it. And then we're going to start dealing some damage to Go-Go because we're going to have to start swinging in over there. We want 5 mana for the Coppercoats. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, leaving us with 4 into Vault of the Archangel. So we can go for the Talisman. We'll get drained for 2. But I think that's alright, because we're going to try and gain some life this turn with Vault of the Archangel. With First Strike and Death Touch, we're going to make it very difficult for our opponent to block. Actually, if we swing in with the Cavalry Pegasus, then they'll only be able to block with this thing anyway. So we'll head in towards Go-Go. And it's just a case of hoping that our opponent doesn't get us on the swing back, which they may well do. I've just really got my fingers crossed that we can get rid of this thing somehow. Ramos deciding to block the Flyer. We knock them down to 17, go up to 30. That's a nice chunk of life we just gained. And then we'll draw a card from Ludevic as well. And get ourselves into Jirina Kudro. Could have done with that a turn sooner, I think. Wouldn't have knocked anyone out, but it would have been a nice chunk of life. Yeah, that would have been an extra 5 points of life, I think, there. Fingers crossed we see a board wipe going for cycling a land first of all. Cezanne, Perverter of Truth coming down. Doesn't matter who has control of that, so the Perplexing Chimera stays put. Continuing to lose life to the Mana Vault, but obviously it doesn't matter. We've gotten them below 0 life now. An Arch of Arazka. So they can definitely draw a card for 5 mana with that, although they have 7 in hand. An activation on Kinnan, and they can do that once more this turn if they like. They get into an Eldrazi. Then a Vigor as well. Oh, that is a problem because that stops damage being dealt to the Platinum Angel. If damage would be dealt to another creature you control, put a plus counter on it instead for each 1 damage prevented. So yeah, I mean, we couldn't go for this to get rid of Platinum Angel yet anyway. Unless they've forgotten about the Vigilante Justice. I mean, it's switched off now anyway, so we don't need to worry about it. Let's see if they decide to swing in at us again. Looks like they're turning everything in sideways at us. So how much is this? That's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I think that's 24 points of damage. So we really need a removal spell off the top at this point. Yeah, Kinnan has Fear, so we can't block with our Boros creature. I think I'm just going to hope that this gets buffed a little bit more and we can gain some more life. Yeah, so let's just take this as well. I think I might try Call of the Coppercoats anyway, because it at least removes this thing like we've been talking about this whole time. And if they let it go, then we've got more humans to gain life with at least. So let's go for it before they draw a card. We get drained for 2 by the Cabal. They decide to allow us the Call of the Coppercoat, so I do wonder if they see the play here in us getting a bunch of tokens into the Vigilante Justice. Maybe we should have tried it in response to the Vigor if we were going to go for it anyway. I hadn't really planned on playing this until the last minute. So there we go, it's a bunch of Vigilante triggers. Definitely going to get rid of the Cabal first of all, because that will drain us to death. We can't target any of the creatures over here, because they will get +1/+1 counters on them instead. And because I'm going to make use of their Saison and go down to 2... Oh, actually, there's a Mana Crypt, isn't there? Yeah, we're best not risking it then. Yeah, we'll get rid of the Saison as much as I don't want to. I would like the card draw, but chances are we're going to get bolted by our own Mana Crypt. Saison successfully going down, so hopefully that means that we survive another turn. And the Cabal goes down as well. And just like that, we've gotten into a bunch of 3/1 Fear and First Strike tokens. Let's see if we were going to get bolted. Oh, a Skull Clamp. That might be a means of us winning the game. And we were going to get bolted, so it's a good job I got rid of the Saison. Cathar's Crusade, coming a little bit too late, but that's alright. Yeah, I think instead of going for General Kudro as much as I'd like to, I don't think it's really relevant with this board state. Yeah, I think we just have to turn everything sideways. In at go-go, take them out as best we can, and hope that we gain a bunch of life. So everything has Death Touch and Lifelink again. And I'm not going for the Lord because I want the Skull Clamp switched on. We'll take everything in at go-go. I'm actually going to hold back the Magus just in case I'm desperate for card draw. All these tokens might not survive combat for some strange blue reason. Anyway, they're doing something in response. A Chaos Warp goes on to... What is that targeting? Their own commander? Yeah, they are Chaos Warping their own commander. Not sure what they're trying to get into there. Maybe they're just doing it for a bit of fun. The Chaos Warp doesn't get them into anything, unfortunately. Now it's just hoping that Gogo actually takes the damage, because we do need the life gain here. Alright, so we take them down to -37. They do gracefully take the damage. We go up to 57, which might be the difference between us winning and losing this one. Now we need to see if we can land a Skull Clamp with that Chimera in play. And the client is starting to struggle, so I hope it doesn't crash on us. They decide to give us Skull Clamp, surprisingly. So all we have to do here is start drawing a load of cards and try and get into removal for the Platinum Angel. Okay, True Conviction, Double Strike with all of these tokens in play might be really good, but I'm trying to win this turn if I can. We'd need 2 removal spells if we want rid of Platinum Angel at this point. Alright, there's one, Dire Tactics. So we just need another one now. We've got a pretty good chance of drawing into it, 18 cards in the library. I'm just hoping we've actually got some removal left at this point. That one is exile a target artifact or enchantment. We can't give it haste, unfortunately. Like I said the whole game, we've been short on haste, unfortunately. But depending on what we draw in the next few Skull Clamps, it might be worth trying to get that down. Okay, it might be the last chance here. Okay, a Toxic Deluge. The problem with that is... Yeah, just one more mana we needed. If we go for Toxic Deluge, then they take control of it. Oh, actually, it doesn't matter if they take control of Toxic Deluge, does it? Yeah, okay, so scratch that. We also don't necessarily mind getting rid of a lot of humans off the board. So let's go for one more Skull Clamp before we get rid of all of our stuff. Okay, yeah, there's more removal in the Palace Jailer. Let's just go and attempt a Toxic Deluge. We might still have counter magic yet. And we need to put a lot of life into this, unfortunately. We put 11 life into Toxic Deluge. And even if they do gain control of this, it doesn't matter. So it's counter magic that they need at this point, which they could still have with only 1 blue mana. And our opponent's throwing up the GG, so it looks like that is the end of them. And there we go, nice one. So yeah, I was really not hopeful for winning that one against a bunch of blue players. Luckily we didn't, I don't think we saw any counter magic actually, which was quite refreshing. Yeah, if there'd been a load of counter magic and stuff like that, I really just don't see us winning that one, but we managed to squeak out a victory against some pretty fun decks there, as it turns out. Had the Toxic Deluge not have gone through, we could have survived a swing back, I think. Yeah, we had a couple of blockers, so I think we could have done. And then it would have been a case for going for more clamps. Let's see how far we were from more spot removal. But I think we could have done it next turn. We have Bounty Agent. The Palace Jailer could have gotten rid of the Angel. This could have given another turn, because we need to get the Summoning Sickness off of that. And then Dire Tactics as well. So more haste in the deck, I think. It is very much lacking on haste. But like I said, just play testing it. This is the first game I've played with it, and yeah, very happy with that. Be sure to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe if you did like the content. The C20 cards are just rolling onto Magic Online now. I'm waiting for supply to overtake demand, and then the prices will go down because they're stupid prices at the moment. But be sure to subscribe if you want to see more Commander 2020 decks. And I will see you all next time, I hope. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.